Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to the Retro Wrestling Room. Today we have another podcast here, we have another very special guest. We have had guests from the UK, we've had guests from Ireland, from the US, we even had a guest from India. But today we're going to another part of the world, we're going to the Philippines. Not just a wrestler by any means though, they are also a musician and more importantly, a superhero. Today we have Super P joining our podcast.
Hey everyone.
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm great. It's a Saturday night here in the Philippines.
Lovely. You haven't been wrestling all that long. What first got you into wrestling?
Well, I've been wrestling for just less than 2 years, so under 2 years, because I had my debut in May of 2023. So I've been a wrestling fan all my life. Played the video games, watched the shows on TV, and actually a decade ago, that's when the local wrestling scene started here in the Philippines. And ever since that started, I was also a fan
Right.
of the local scene. Yeah. And it took a while of me just, being a fan, writing fan fiction about wrestlers, stuff like that. Uh, but then in 2018, I built up that courage to actually start training. I started training under one of the best wrestlers in the Philippines right now, Jake De Leon, and the first Filipina wrestler who is Crystal. So they started training me in 2018. But then along the way, it took some time because uh, when I started, I had no like sports background or anything or sort of
Right.
any athletic activity. So everything was new to me, even though I was a fan of wrestling. Getting into the movements, it's a challenge. So it took me a long while, and the pandemic also happened, so that
Mm.
pretty much stopped wrestling in the Philippines. I don't know how it is in the UK. What happened to
Yes.
your local wrestling scene? But for us, it stopped completely for like 2 years. Like there was no wrestling. And when MWF, Manila Wrestling Federation, started back in restarted after 2 years of no wrestling, I joined them and then started training again. But then unfortunately, I had to undergo surgery.
Oh no.
Uh, yeah, I had knee surgery because I tore my ACL and pretty much worsened my meniscus injury that I had years prior. So it really took me a long time from 2018 to 2023. It's like 5 years almost. But we got there. Obviously, we
Yeah.
got there. Yeah, that's how I pretty much got into the being a wrestler.
You mentioned the local scene.
Yeah,
It is relatively new as well. Is that right?
yeah,
Um,
very new.
so who who were the main players that kind of started up that scene in the Philippines for the people who don't know?
It's pretty cool because it started as a Facebook group, right? The
Right.
first modern pro wrestling company in the Philippines started as a Facebook group. It was called Philippine Wrestling Revolution. So it is PWR. Um, they were just like a bunch of guys who wanted to try and make their own promotion. So they just picked up, stuff from YouTube or DVDs or whatever, and they started teaching themselves. And one of those guys was actually my coach, Jake De Leon. Um, so he was part of that pioneering group of PWR. That was in like 2014. They had their first show not long after they started getting together and training with each other in a boxing ring. So
Right. Oh
everything has
wow.
really like yeah, really started out in a boxing ring, which is for those who don't know, that's very different
Yeah.
from the structure of a wrestling ring. It's hard. It's really, really hard. So that's where everything started. Yeah, here in the Philippines.
I think going back, years and years ago, like decades and decades, I think, most wrestling companies, that is how they started, because that was the only thing they had was
Yeah,
boxing rings.
yeah.
And like you said, very, very hard canvas.
Yeah, very, very hard. And fortunately, we've we've developed our own rings over the years. The different companies here in the Philippines, they've developed their own rings over the years that are, they're pretty much up to par with other countries. And right now, actually, we're where I wrestle right now, which is Puso Wrestling, and sometimes Dexcon. Um, we wrestle in our own training gym, our own
Hmm.
dojo, which also has its own wrestling ring, but it's quite different from your usual wrestling ring because some of the wrestling rings, most of the wrestling rings, you can take them apart and then move them from place to place, and that's how you go on tour, right? But for this particular ring, it was built. I don't know who built it, but it was built so that it cannot be disassembled. So what
Oh,
we do,
wow.
yeah, what we do. So on a normal day, it's like in the corner of our dojo.
Hmm.
But during show days, what we do is we all come together, the entire roster, and we push it to the middle for shows. So it's some of the foreign visitors, they've seen us do it and they're like, that's crazy that you guys keep doing that every
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, that's. Oh, that doesn't leave a lot of room for error either. If
Yeah,
something goes
yeah,
wrong. Oh.
yeah. We got just gotta trust each other.
Yes. You mentioned the company Dexcon. You actually had a match not that long ago against somebody who was recently on the channel as well, Bali and Aki, part of Best Bros with May Segura. What was that match like for you? Were you big fans before going into that match?
Oh, I told Suruga-san this that when I started training in 2018, that was around the time that she started, having matches on the then Got to Move YouTube
Yes.
channel, right? And as a trainee, that's who I would watch. I was very much interested in her style. I love the way she moves. I love everything about her. So partly she played a role in me becoming, a wrestler because I would watch her all the time. And I told her that. So for me, of course, so we lost that match,
Yeah.
obviously. Um, but for me, win or lose, coming into that match, whether we would win, whether we would lose, I knew that coming into that match, we would come out stronger because that's something that's really important to me. I want to learn from everyone. I want to learn from wrestlers who have been around the world. I want to learn from wrestlers who I admire, right? So in becoming part of this match, I really learned a lot from the both of them. And you know, to me, what happened was me and my tag team partner El Catiponero, we came out stronger in that match despite losing, and now I guess you could say that we're just hungrier to do better and to do
Yes.
more in wrestling.
So, you mentioned your tag partner in this match then. There's actually three of you in the team Super Friends, is that right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yes. So it's me, El Catiponero, and Patricia Ligaya.
How did you three come together?
Oh, so when I first came on a wrestling show, I wasn't initially a wrestler. I was
Right.
actually a ballet for El Catiponero uh, during his debut match. So I've been with him since the beginning, and in fact, my debut match is actually a tag team match with him. I've been with him since the very beginning. And Patricia Ligaya, well, she had her debut against three other women. So it's me, Chelsea Marie, and Joya. So that was like one of the biggest, women's matches here in the Philippines. She made her debut in that match, and I made her tap out. But through that experience, we actually became like really good friends, really close friends. Um, she learns from me, I learn from her, and through that friendship, we decided to be just part of this one team that that really values like love and friendship in this industry, and growing together.
Uh, Looking at the Philippine scene, from all the clips that I've seen, it does seem to be a really close knit community. Everybody seems to be. I know the team is the Super Friends, but it really does feel like a group of Super Friends that are all trying to help each other improve and help the scene improve.
Yeah. Um, so in particular, I'm just gonna explain like a bit of the landscape
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, of course.
of Philippine wrestling. So right now there are about four wrestling companies
Mm.
in the Philippines, and three of those are the ones that I directly work with. So there's Puso Wrestling, which is my main promotion, and then there's also Dexcon. I also work there, and then for the third one is World Underground Wrestling. So I help out with the production work for that. So these three companies, it's basically sharing like one production team, one roster. So we're really
Mm.
like this one big family, and 90% of us are wrestlers. We don't have a lot of like behind the scenes people, like dedicated production staff. It's just us. Sometimes you'd see, for example, Nigel San Jose, who's one of the wrestlers. He'd be like the audio guy
Right.
for the show, right? So it's just us, um, coming together, trying to make this happen, trying to keep this scene alive, because the Philippines, the Philippine scene is not something as big and as lucrative as Japan, for
Mm.
example, or even the UK, or even Mexico, or especially the US. It's not a gigantic industry, so to speak. But that's the goal. That's the goal, and we're just trying to keep it alive through our own efforts, through coming together. Do as much as you can. So what I do is, apart from wrestling, I help out with the social media stuff,
Mm.
with the marketing stuff. Just helping out with the graphics and stuff like that. Uh, because there's not a lot of us on the team, but all of us really want to make this happen. We, what I would say about the Philippine wrestling community is that, it's not this person has to be just this person has to be successful. This person has to be a star. It's really just
Right.
everyone coming together to lift the scene up. Just like how
Yes.
everyone is pushing the ring. That's the best metaphor
Yes.
for Philippine wrestling right now.
Even like well, what I would consider like a big promotion of the past, like an ECW. When you watch documentaries on them, they were exactly the same. Taz was or what's the word I'm looking for? Coming up with the T-shirt ideas, and other wrestlers were helping with the marketing and things like that. So even on bigger scales, that still community, and I guess there's not just one role for everybody. It's multiple roles, and
Yeah,
everything helps everything in the end.
yeah,
That's what it's
yeah,
all about.
yeah. Because there's there's a cool thing about Dexcon, for example. This Dexcon started out as like a convention for trading cards, like
Right. Okay.
Dexcon. It's a convention for wrestling trading
Ah.
cards.
Okay.
But then they said, "Hey, what if we got some wrestlers to wrestle
Right.
at our events?" So it started from there, and then the entire community was like, "Well, what if we make it a full-fledged show? What if we have our own local wrestlers come in and wrestle, international talents? What if we come up with these international dream matches?" So it's really a community effort. And one cool thing I'll say about it is one of the companies that actually fuels Philippine wrestling is our merch partner, which is the Nutcase. So the Nutcase, makes all the merch for the wrestlers. So despite
Hmm.
us, we don't earn a lot from our
Right.
matches, but they help us get that additional source of income through merchandise, and it's really cool. It's not just T-shirts; it's like yo-yos, and
Right.
I have some weird
Yeah.
like pendants, stuff like that. Fans. What else? They sell a copy of my mask too, and they have a bandana for El Catiponero, and pretty soon they'll have some really cool merch for Patricia Legaya as well. But yeah, these are the people who really lift up the scene and help the wrestlers.
It seems like it's got, and this kind of links into my next question as well. It seems to have a real DIY aspect to it, almost like a music scene kind of does.
Yeah.
So, like here in the UK, like the things you're mentioning, like the little trinkets and things, like not just t-shirts. It really does feel like that DIY scene. And you're also a musician as well. I've noticed on
Yeah.
Apple Music, you've got quite a lot of music on there at the moment.
Yeah, I have how many is it? I have one full length album. I have one, two, three. Oh no. How many do I have? I have two I have two EPs. I
Yes.
forgot how much music. There's a lot of music there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it actually started out of boredom from the pandemic.
Right.
You're not really doing anything. So and I had some of these songs written down already. I tried to learn from the YouTube School of Music Production
Yes.
how to record my own music at home, and I just pretty much DIY'd everything. And until now, I still do everything on my
Yeah.
own.
What came first for you? Was it the love of like being a musician, or was it the wrestling?
I think music is probably my oldest passion, because I started being a wrestling fan at around 10, 12 years old. But music was everything. Like as a toddler, I
Yeah.
loved music, and even before I found out about wrestling, I knew how to play guitar. So it's that
Right.
early. And I've been in a band since I was 13 years old. So yeah, pretty much. I had wanted to release my own music because throughout the years I just been part of a band. So I'd be a guitarist
Mm.
for different bands throughout high school, throughout my working years, and everything. But I had never really released my own songs. Sometimes I would record myself singing and post it on my personal Facebook, and I would get a lot of nice comments. So I figured maybe it wouldn't be so bad if I tried to record something myself. But the first version of my first EP was pretty badly recorded because
Yeah.
what I did was for the guitar parts, I had this small amplifier, and then I had this mic, and then I would just stuff it in my closet and
Right.
record it like that, and the audio was horrible. But I tried to re-record it again maybe like a year or two later, and yeah, I'm learning. I'm still learning. I haven't quite perfected it, but it's getting there.
But that's that like kind of lo-fi punk ideal DIY scene, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
what they do. It's definitely got that charm to it. Like all the music that I've listened that you've released, it always reminds me of Scott Pilgrim. That's just the vision. It just always comes to me every time I hear it.
You're not the first person who has said that. Many
Oh,
people have
really?
said that. That's cool though. That's cool
Yeah.
that that's what people are picking up from it because I love Scott Pilgrim
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's definitely a compliment. Um,
Yeah.
you mentioned when you first started getting into wrestling. I know one of your biggest inspirations was Lita. Was she one of the first people that you would have seen on TV at the time?
Um, not not the first, but I would say she was the first wrestler that I saw, and then I went, I want to do that. right?
Right.
I want to be like that, because she was different. She was really different at the time, and I remember after watching a lot of Lita matches on TV, I would ask my mom to buy the fishnet gloves and
Right.
stuff,
Yeah.
and I would like emulate her, and the camo pants. I would I would emulate her movement. I would listen to her theme a lot, stuff like that. But yeah, I really wanted to be like her, especially after that legendary match with Trish Stratus. So that was a game changer for me. But nobody really took me seriously. Whenever I would say that I want to be a wrestler just
Mm.
like Lita, my mom didn't take me seriously. My friends didn't take me seriously, and I don't blame them because at the time there was no local wrestling scene, and it really seemed impossible for like a Filipino woman to get there
Of course.
at the WWE. Yeah, but now you have Shotzi there. She's a
Yeah.
Filipino woman,
Yeah.
and you've had people like Batista, Filipino man, and you've had it used to be TJP
Mm.
on and in many other promotions. There are so many Filipinos there as well. So the possibility of being a Filipino being a wrestler known around the world, the chance is much higher now. But at the time when I was a fan and when I was telling everyone in my squeaky little voice that I want to be a wrestler, nobody believed me.
Another person who I know you were a big fan of, and you actually got to do a virtual meet and greet with them at one point, was,
Yeah.
I know, I've got a video as well, I'm afraid. Is when you
And I
met.
have the same reaction.
Yes. Is when you got to meet Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
What was that
Um,
experience like for you?
Trying not to squeal here, but
Yes.
he really is my favorite. Um, that was a pandemic thing that I just heard about it on Twitter. I mean X. I
Yes,
read
yes.
it on X. That he was doing a virtual meet and greet, and I'm like, should I do it? Should I do it? And I did it as like as a gift to myself. But that wasn't our first encounter actually. In 2016, when WWE came here to Manila, Sami Zayn was actually in the main event. He had a match with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins, so it was a triple threat. Um, and I had with me because I bought tickets to the barricade area, like front row
Mm.
tickets, and I had with me a mix CD that I burned myself. Sounds old. I burned
Yeah.
a mix CD uh, for Sami Zayn, and I designed like the cover and everything, and I was really hoping for the chance to be able to give it to him. I won a meet and greet pass, but later on they revealed that we weren't meeting like specific. We were meeting actually Gallows and Anderson. Yeah,
Mm.
so I wasn't able to give it to him during the meet and greet, but I was hoping like, is there a chance that I could hand this over to him uh, after his match or something? So I was just like always just running to the barricade and handing it away, and then I gave that CD to him, and then during the virtual meet and greet, I actually brought that up. I brought up the mix CD thing, and he said he remembered it. Hopefully, he actually does. But yeah, I had always been a fan of Sami Zayn since like probably 2014.
Mm.
So it's been a decade now. I'm just a fan of his work, not just in WWE, but also everywhere he's been
Mm.
in the indies and everything that he does also outside of wrestling.
Yeah.
All his charity work and stuff like that. So I'm a Sami Zayn girl.
I think that's a good hero to have in Sami Zayn. And he's
Yeah.
comes across as definitely one of the nicest people in wrestling. Um, when you mentioned about the ring earlier, and we touched upon Choco Pro and Gato Move as well. They're so unique because they don't even have a ring. You've
Yeah.
actually wrestled for a company when they didn't have a ring as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So the first time I did that was in Singapore. Oh no, actually we first did it here, and then I did the same show in Singapore. So the show is called Graveyard Shift. This is actually an idea that, by Dr. Gore. So he's a Singaporean pro wrestler. Um, so he came to Manila for a match against me and El Catiponero. So he was with his tag team partner, uh, the Butcherman. So that was for a DexCon show called Jam of the Joshis. But he decided, like, the night before Jam of the Joshis, why don't we do like a graveyard shift
Mm.
show? So graveyard shift, the whole idea of it is mat wrestling. We ran that show in Manila, and I actually got to play an evil version of myself, my super villain alter ego, super villain B. So I did that when they were here in Manila, and then later in the year, when they had graveyard shift around December in Singapore. So me, El Catiponero, and Jake De Leon actually flew to Singapore to join that show, and I was able to wrestle two matches there. One is a tag team match, and one is a singles with one of their female wrestlers in Singapore, Miss Selena. It's pretty cool. I, I love mat wrestling because you can get really creative with it, right? It's not your
Mm.
um, typical wrestling style where where you have the ropes to rely, especially for me because I jump from the ropes a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
right.
yeah, so it's a different wrestling style, and you have to be really creative with your environment. So if you notice, for example, in Choco Pro, they use the windows, they use like
Yes.
the pipes on the ceiling. So it's very creative and it's very DIY, and I love that about Choco Pro, and I love that about Dr. Gore's graveyard shift idea because it's basically a canvas where you can tell a story, um, and do wrestling in whatever crazy way you can think of that's not the conventional type of wrestling. So for example, in graveyard shift in Singapore, um, it was very intimate, so the audience members were close by, so it was very interactive, like you could involve them in your match. One of the guys used an audience member as a weapon, so that was funny. Yeah, I love mat wrestling because it forces you to be really creative.
I actually brought that up to Valiant when he was here. I said, um, I think a lot of people would maybe be a bit intimidated by it because it's not their usual, like you said, a usual canvas to work upon. But I think it opens things up. You have to be creative. You have to try new things there.
And I think that's the advantage of people like May Suruga and Balianaki, because they were raised in that environment essentially where you're forced to use your environment, you're forced to be very creative, and since you're used to that, now when you're in a regular wrestling ring, you have that with you. That's an experience that, um, I would say not a lot of other wrestlers have with them. Like they don't have that kind of experience that you have, being creative with mat wrestling, and to me, that makes them really, really good wrestlers
Yes.
that have
Yeah.
an advantage over others, right?
Um, did you get to train with them at all when they came? Yes.
Yeah, the day before, they actually ran like a little seminar
Mm.
for me and some of the other roster members of Puso Wrestling. So in the morning, we had two seminars in one day. So in the morning, we had a mini seminar from the Best Bros, and then in the evening, since he was also here for that show, we also had a mini training seminar with Yoshitatsu.
Mm.
So yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I didn't realize that as well. I didn't realize they were here at the same time. Um,
Yeah.
Do you get many people like touring that part of the world? Is it usually from say the Japanese scene?
Um, I would say in terms of like foreign wrestlers who have visited the Philippines to have a show over the years, it's usually been like around Southeast Asia.
Mm,
So Singaporeans are usually here,
right.
especially the horrors, Dr. Gordon Butcherman and Alexis Lee. They're almost always here.
Right.
Then you have the Malaysians, so some people from APAC, some people from my PW. Um, some people from Setup Thailand have also been here.
Mm.
So Shivam and others. And who else? We've had people from Hong Kong. So
Oh.
people from Southeast Asia
Mm.
have been here. Uh, and a lot of Japanese people have been here as well. Um, Before the pandemic, Emi Sakura actually was here in back in 2019. She wrestled Crystal. We've had Masa Takanashi. We've had DJ Nira. We've had T Hawk. Um, and recently we've had Yuki Kamifuku. And then we've had Meisuruga. So we've also had Tajiri actually
Yeah. Wow.
from Japan and the whole Kyushu wrestling roster. So that we've gotten people from Japan. In terms of like other countries, like the Western countries, we well, he didn't come from directly from the UK at the time. He came from Japan. So we've had Zack Saber Jr.
Mm.
here. In a couple of months, we'll also have El Fantasmo
Mm.
come and wrestle here. We've had TJP, but he's Filipino, so
Yeah.
he doesn't count. Uh, yeah, so we've had people from Australia as well. So people who are like close by, mostly. Uh, I don't maybe I'm not remembering anything, but I don't think we've really had someone like a foreign wrestler from the United
Mm.
States come here yet to wrestle. I don't think so.
Is
But we have someone. We have a female wrestler who's homegrown, who's actually wrestling there right now. Her name is Nina. So she's wrestling in the independent scene in California right now. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you are starting to get exports then, I guess,
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
companies that you wrestle for. What do you think is next for the local scene there? How is it going to keep growing, do you think, in your view?
Um, So the goal again is for us to turn this into like some sort of industry, um, some sort of full-time job, if you will.
Mm.
Because right now, all of us who are wrestling, we have to work. We have to
Of
work our
course.
9 to 5s so that we can do this, so that we have money to fund our wrestling. So we work throughout the week, and then when the weekend hits, it's like bam, 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 it's training, 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 or shows. Uh, they happen on the weekend. So for us, the goal is really to bring Philippine wrestling to a point where this is this is a job. Like this is something that you can make a living out of, just like art, for example. If art is your passion, then you can make a living out of it. If music is your passion, you can make a living out of it. If wrestling is your passion, what we want is
Mm.
for you to be able to make a living out of it. Now, we talked about earlier the different wrestlers who are coming here um, to wrestle, right, from different parts of the world. And to us, what that helps is our, you get to see different perspectives from different kinds of wrestlers. So we learned a lot from Zack Saber Jr. We learned a lot from Tajiri and Kyushu Pro. We learned a lot from Ho Ho Lun, for example, and other people who have been here. And we take all of these learnings so that we don't just become better wrestlers, but also, better at running our wrestling
Yes.
industry. All of these things we pick up, and then we absorb them like a sponge, and then we implement them. And hopefully we are on the right track. Hopefully we're getting there. Right now, I would say that Philippine wrestling is like better than ever, especially with Dexcon's shows being on Triller TV
Mm.
now. So they've struck a partnership. So now we're on the same platform as like GCW,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, so hopefully that brings more eyes to Philippine wrestling, to local wrestling, and hopefully that trickles down also to how we grow locally. More people would want to watch us, more people would want to come see us, more people would want to come train with us if they want to be a wrestler because now you know that there's local wrestling. Um, and that's pretty much how I see our goal is moving forward. Just trying to absorb everything, all the learnings from the international guests that we have, trying to grow as a company so that we get to that ultimate goal of those who are passionate about wrestling are able to make a living out of it. Yeah.
I think the Triller deal is going to be a big thing because, like you said, GCW. Here in the UK, that's the only way we can watch AEW live.
Yeah.
We only have it on like a tape delay later on in the week. So to watch it live, you have to watch things like Triller. So to see all these different promotions in the schedule part on Triller, that's how you pick up on these new promotions that you may have not heard of before.
Yeah, and it forces us also as wrestlers to like step up. Like
Of
I was
course.
I, I was joking because when one of my current favorite female wrestlers from WWE, Natalia, she's gonna wrestle in GCW
Yeah.
Bloodsport, right? Um, and to me that's like I have to be a better wrestler because I'm gonna be on the same platform
Yeah.
as Natalia. So that's what it does to us. We're gonna be on the same platform as some bigger names. So I've noticed like recently during training, we're just really pushing each other harder. Not harder to the point where we're all suffering, but harder to the point where we become happier with our performance. We become happier with our growth, and it gets more people to come take notice of Philippine wrestling.
I think that match with Natalia and Mina is going to be definitely something to remember.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking
I'm
forward to that match.
excited. Yeah.
Um, a superhero in the WWE of sorts, John Cena, has recently turned on all of his adoring fans across the world. I know that we have seen Supervillain P before, but can
He
we?
only comes out at 10 p.m.,
Yeah.
by the way.
Can we? Do you think we'll ever see a full John Cena style heel turn from Super P down the road?
I don't know. It depends on what happens. Right now, I'm feeling pretty happy. I love my fans. I love children. So I don't feel like calling out a child in the crowd. So I'm feeling pretty good and cheerful and still about love and friendship. So, but it depends on what happens throughout, my journey.
Who are some of the dream opponents that you'd like to see come to the Philippines?
Come to the Philippines. Um, Actually, a lot of the Joshi wrestlers, I wish they would come here so that we could learn a lot from them because that's one of the things that we're also trying to grow here. It's the women's wrestling scene right
Hmm.
now. In our promotion, actively right now there are five of us as of today, which is March 29th. But tomorrow we're debuting another woman wrestler.
Oh wow!
Previously, we debuted another female wrestler, um, but right now she's living in Singapore. She moved to Singapore, so it's growing. It's very very slowly growing. The ratio of men and women is still super far off, but we're trying to get it to a point where there's at least like 10 of us. uh, and we're taking a lot of inspiration from Joshi wrestling. um, Joshi companies. Fortunately, we have one Filipina Joshi wrestler, so that's Yappy from Ice Ribbon, and she's been whenever she's here, she really teaches us. She gives us a lot of insight as to how things are done in Joshi wrestling, and that makes us want to like have more Joshi wrestlers come here so that they could teach us, they could help us grow. And one of the names that I would like to see come here would be Maki Ito.
Yes.
I yes, Maki Ito, and who else? I would like Emi Sakura to come
Mm.
back and bring more of the Choco Pro girls with her. I would love for Yappy again to come back with her tag team partner Ancham, the Bad Bots from Ice Ribbon. I would love for them to be here. Mayu Iwatani. Hyper Misao is a name that
Mm.
people have always mentioned to me that they would want me to face Hyper Misao. But let's see. I would love to have her here, but we'll see if it works out. If people's dream match
Yeah.
would come true.
It'd definitely be the battle of the red mask versus the green mask.
The green match,
Yes.
yeah.
That is something that I think people would definitely be interested in. Or maybe the supervillain P would have to come out for that match. I'm not sure. I'm not
Maybe.
sure.
Or we could team up, right?
I think
Team
that would be the
superheroes.
I think that would be the better option. You seem to you're able to pick out a lot of names from different promotions. How much wrestling do you consume, and is it a lot of from like say a fan perspective, or is a lot of it from a learning perspective?
I'd say I watch too much wrestling.
Yeah.
No, um, I think the good thing about starting out as a fan is how you never lose it. Even if you become like a wrestler yourself, even if you start watching matches from a learner's perspective, there is still that fan perspective. It will, uh, for me at least, it has never disappeared. So when I watch matches, I will also, I will always watch it as part fan, right?
Hmm.
Um, and you know, it's quite interesting that you asked that because I was recently also asked if I ever get tired of wrestling. Now that
Hmm.
I mean it's only been less than 2 years, but I was asked if I ever get tired of being a wrestler, watching wrestling, just having my whole world revolve around wrestling, and I would I answered that sometimes I do think about feeling tired, but then I especially when I see people um, my age here in the Philippines who have a lot of time on their hands for their hobbies and their interests and for leisure, while I spend a lot of time like training, watching matches, stuff like that. Um, but then I remember wrestling is my
Is your passion?
interest.
Yes.
Yes, wrestling is my leisure. Wrestling is my hobby, despite it being a job as well. So, it's important to never lose sight of being a fan of the thing that you're doing, and it's the same with music. I would say that I am my biggest fan in music because I listen to my own stuff. But I think that's important to be a fan of the thing uh, that you do and to never lose sight of that because otherwise it's just like any other job. Like it's just like an office job. You just come in and work and get paid. But if you still approach it as like someone who loves it, then you'll be happy to do it. You'll be happy to do it, like possibly every day of your life.
Well, I think that there's that saying, isn't there? If you love your job, if you love your job, you'll never work a day in your life. Because it's
Yeah,
something that you really enjoy. Um,
yeah.
when we were talking about building that the scene within the Philippines, do you have any like aspirations in the near future to travel to different wrestling companies, say around the world?
I wouldn't say travel around different wrestling companies, but the goal is definitely starting this year to travel around the world. Like
Mm,
I would love to learn. Like recently, I've been to Singapore and trained with some of the SPW folks. I've also been to Malaysia recently, not for a show, but to watch a concert, a Green Day
mm,
concert. But I was able to have an opportunity to train with the MyPW folks. And that's something that I'm pretty much interested in. Just being able to learn from wrestlers around the world. My goal this year is hopefully to go to Japan and just learn from the Japanese wrestlers, train there, and see how they do things and pick up on all of their insights and all of their skills and learnings, and all of that. And I know that that will help me grow as a wrestler. So right now, that's my goal, just to wrestle in different countries and learn from different people in different places around the world. And it's also, I would say, it's also a dream of mine to be able to represent homegrown Filipino wrestlers, because there's not a lot of us, and the Filipino wrestlers that you would see in big companies such as, for example, WWE. Shotzi is amazing, uh, but she was raised there, right?
mm,
In the U.S.,
right.
she's not, homegrown in the Philippines. We haven't had an opportunity for a homegrown Filipino wrestler to wrestle on such a big stage. We almost had it. Crystal was actually supposed to be part of the first Mayong Classic, but
Right.
that didn't happen. So yeah, I'm after those opportunities as well to be able to represent homegrown Filipino wrestling and show the world that yeah, we this is a place where professional wrestling can grow. We're training, we're going to keep up with you guys. Yeah.
We're lucky. I can't speak now. We are lucky enough to have a great female-only promotion here in the UK, Pro Wrestling
Yeah.
Eve.
Yes.
And we have a lot of imports coming in from all around the world. So it would be really great to have, I think, Super Friends and maybe some of the other wrestlers on the scene come to Pro Wrestling Eve sometime down in the future.
Yeah, we really hope so. Because I'm honestly, I love I'm a fan of some wrestlers in the UK because like when I started training, aside from Choco Pro, I would watch World of Sport. So
Right.
I'm a,
Okay.
I yeah, I'm a fan of Johnny Saint and his work. And so yeah, I'm familiar with some of the UK wrestlers, and I would love to come and wrestle there and learn from all of the wrestlers there. That would be great.
Super Pete, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed having you on the show today. Please feel free to give any shout outs or any links of anything you'd like to at the moment.
Yeah, well, you guys can follow me everywhere on at Super P with 5 E's, because 4 E's was already taken. So it's Super P 5 E's. And you can also catch our live stream. So we have live streams on YouTube. Just go to the Puso Wrestling YouTube channel, and you'll see us wrestle. Where we also upload some of our matches there. And you can also, if you want to see what the Philippine wrestling scene looks like, you can also go to Triller TV and watch DexCon and World Underground wrestling shows there. So yeah.
So, Pete, I'll give you a proper goodbye off screen in a moment. But for now, thank you so much for watching, guys. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We've got loads of these interviews coming up in the future as well, and hopefully we will see you guys soon. Bye, guys.